been getting up stupid early, and then I started watching The Tiger King finally. There's our other topic. Why didn't we think about that? But it popped in my head. I'm only on episode 1, but through Twitter, and I watched that whole podcast with Theo, one of the main big cat guy, Doc, who's probably the one who seems to have his shit most together. Zach said he's the most normal earlier, which I agree with. But that was good. So I kind of do get the gist of what's happening, who died, who did it, who we think did it. There's still a lot of details I want to watch. But with that long explanation, when Carol Baskin was vehemently going to Congress and trying to pass the big cat law, and they were talking about how it's going to affect zoos so much and all this, it made me think about Gatorland. And really, today it kind of dawned on me, and I'm not comparing the two, but there's a lot of parallels, I believe, and that's what's fascinating. And to me, I can't even fully. I'll stop talking after this too. I've had 2 cups of coffee since I've been home, and cocaine. That's a joke. I'm on probation.
I'm having Golden Monkey.
What I'm trying to say is, I'm wanting to know, like, do you have now that has there ever been like a moral conflict with you working with the animals in the park at the capacity you did? Can you sympathize with those big cat owners a little bit more than I could? Or I guess I'm not trying to make a crude comparison saying, you know what, Zach, you're as bad as Joe Exotic. But there are, and I guess that's what popped to my head. Not that I think that, but I'm like, ooh, I'll challenge him. We'll argue. But now that I'm saying it out loud, I'm more wanting your opinion. Tell me about some parallels going on for you.
Well, I will say this. I think they were more in a crooked kind of underground breeding world than we were. And
Joe specifically.
Yeah, and I think there's a big difference between like Bengal and Siberian tigers and the common alligator in Florida. For one being, tigers are endangered.
Are you there? He froze.
Are you frozen?
You were for like 30 seconds.
Could you hear everything I said?
Not a word.
Damn it. I seen that you were frozen, so I was like, fuck.
Oh no, you were yeah.
I don't know. I can see the parallels. Like the only thing that like I sympathize with on my end that kind of like in hindsight was like the alligator wrestling, because clearly those are things that the alligator didn't want to do. I mean, you'd have to be fucking ignorant, even as someone in my position, to be like, nah, it's fine. You know, they want to do it. But I can tell you now, they don't. They're trying to bite your ass. But I will say it was done in a way where their bodies were not manipulated in any way that they couldn't manipulate themselves. But I think when it comes to Joe Exotic and that whole circle, is that they were breeding an endangered animal. A big cat has more empathy worldwide than a scaly reptilian friend.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's comparing apples and oranges. I think if we were going to get more equal comparison, it'd be like the Cuban crocodile breeding, perhaps, because Cuban crocodiles are an endangered species from Cuba, and they get sold privately here in Florida to parks like Gatorland and other parks who are private. And that's another thing, too, people don't really understand is some of these animal parks aren't regulated by AZA.
What's that?
American Zoo Association.
Okay.
Like Animal Kingdom would be AZA, like all your major zoos, things like that, like Lowry Park, things like that. And they have more strict guidelines and rules, like they're hands off. Like you can't touch these animals. There's different methods to feed and to clean. They do like shifting. They'll shift them into an area so they can go into the enclosure without the animals being in there. So they're very like way more careful, way more hands off, kind of like let the animal do its thing, even though it's in captivity. But these private parks, like you see in Tiger King and like how you see with where I worked and other parks, it's not quite the case because they're privately owned. So, I mean, I can see certain parallels, but I mean, it's hard to like bring me to that level of the Tiger King because it's like
Zach Exotic.
they're dealing with an endangered, like alligators once upon a time used to be endangered in the 50s. They almost were extinct. So if we were in that kind of predicament, and it doesn't give an excuse to harass an animal, but alligators and crocodiles, they're very motivated by instinct. And I feel like there's a little bit more to big cats than just instinct. And I feel as if they can express their dissatisfaction with being enclosed, perhaps. An alligator's more of a simpleton, So I don't know. I mean, I definitely think there was plenty to be said of the bad shit, I guess, from this docu-series. And like with Carol Baskins, with them in cages, I mean, I just like
her cages were bad.
Yeah, they were bad. Like Gatorland has parks like Gatorland, because another thing with big cats too, with bigger parks, even though where I worked was private, they still had a big insurance policy. So certain animals that they would acquire dictated the insurance level of, like what we can do with them based on what the insurance is willing to cover. So
Right.
like that's why we weren't allowed to do certain tricks with the alligators that you could see down in South Florida because the insurance is like, no.
Did the incident with your stepfather change that at all?
Yep. They can't do hand tricks anymore.
For those, I was just
are you going to tell them the story?
I don't know it as well as you do.
Yeah, if you know Gatorland, if you follow it, I mean, it was a big secret at first, but unfortunately, previous worker leaked the vid. My stepfather got bit by Chester, 13.5-foot alligator.
I didn't know it was Chester.
Yeah, it was Chester.
For the uninitiated, go Google Chester, Gatorland, Florida, and look at this dinosaur.
Yeah, because you met Chester. You got to go in the cage. I brought you guys in, right?
I met Chester before I ever met you.
Yeah, Chester's been there for a minute. So, anyway, that dictates a lot of things we can do. So, for instance, Gatorland has 2 big cats. They have bobcats, but I don't consider them big cats. Because bobcats fully grown are like, a small, medium-sized dog. But they had 2, Florida Panthers. They're not really Florida Panthers. They're cougars. They're like mountain lions. And this lady used to own them as house pets, and she donated them to the park a while back. And, because she was in a little over her head with them. They were raised by her. They don't have claws, though, which PSA, don't declaw your cats. People know that now. People didn't know it in the past. So it's coming to light now how crucial that is because these cats limp because of their declawedness because they're so big. It's like cutting off the tip of their toe. And she didn't know any better. But they live there, and they're big cats. That's considered a big cat. They're pretty big. Like, because the Florida Panther is smaller. Because the Florida Panther is like a subspecies of the cougar mountain lion and everything. And there's actually no cougar species found east of, like, Florida until you get to the western part of the country where you find them. So like Colorado and shit and all those places. And they're bigger there. So that's why what makes the Florida Panthers so iconic is because it's like a smaller version of those, and you can't find them anywhere between Florida and the West. So, but these mountain lions that are at Gatorland, they're considered big cats. So you can't go the insurance because they're more calculated. Like big cats are more calculated. They have the ability to pounce and they can kind of, grab their arms around you and shit like that. Like an alligator is a little bit more predictable. It's side to side. It's on its belly.
One
You can
dimension.
kind of predict the way it's going to go. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's just as dangerous. If you get bit by a bite from a gator is arguably worse than a bite from a big cat just because of the pressure. I'm not sure. But then again, these tigers and these lions can bite down really hard as well. But they also have the ability to maul you because they're just more flexible. They're more pliable and they have like a calculating, sense in them. So we weren't able to deal with the big cats there like Joe Exotic was. And that's kind of what, is the thing that separates those parks from us. Even though we're still private, it's a bigger company. So it wasn't the same practices.
I will say this. And I don't think you think this, but for those listening or watching, in no way was I like making a comparison. It just, honestly, the whole series opens up with like a 20-foot, that thick, what was that, an anaconda?
Yeah, and I know that guy. That was Tom Crutchfield.
Ah, talk about that.
Yeah, that guy in the first episode of of Tiger King.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's a reptile breeder in South Florida, and a lot of the guys I worked with know him and shit like that. He's been in the game for a long time.
No, that's cool. And I was telling you earlier, I really hope he goes back and revisits that because I think that'd be a very interesting documentary.
No, you're right. I think it would be too.
But back to my original point, in no way was there a comparison, and Gatorland might be, and you work there, from a consumer, average Joe's perspective, they put on like one of the most professional deals that a private wildlife exotic animal place, if you could call it that, can do.
To an extent. I mean, that's a fucking like, yeah, boy, I need to feed the damn alligators,
Yeah, they do a good job. Now, here's where I get hung up. One, I think if that big cat law passes, old Bobcat, I think all those cats at Gatorland are, see ya. And two, okay, my points were not comparing the two. Okay, this wasn't my point, but I'm thinking of it. Who is the Carol Baskin of Gatorland?
Fuck, I don't even know. I don't even think we have one.
Does PETA come after y'all?
Oh, yeah, okay. I know what you're saying now. I thought you meant like an employee. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
No, I guess just an enemy.
Yeah, I mean, we've had protests. Yeah, one time we had a protest. I mean, it's not as common as you would think, but one time there was an organized Facebook protest, and we had to, like our bosses came down and be like, if anyone comes to you with a camera and asks any questions, like infiltrators. Yeah, exactly. But they were there for like an hour, and then they left. You see way more protests with SeaWorld and shit like that.
The further away an animal's demeanor gets from ours, the less of a shit we give about it.
Right. Which is why people don't give a damn about crocodilians, really.
Most reptiles, like, we make the joke, like, cold-blooded. That person's a reptile because they just have no emotion. They're so... I don't know if I should say this. I was about to say reptiles are like the sociopaths of the animal world, but I've seen you interact with your snakes, and each one of them has been wildly different. So I don't know if I could say reptiles, maybe crocodilians.
I would say arachnids are the more sociopaths.
They killed it. Yeah. Good call.
I think the bug world in the arachnid world is fucking sick. Or, I mean, you follow Nature's Metal. Mm-hmm. Did you see the fucking post on the honey guide bird?
No, but I'm about to look at it.
Oh my God. It's about the bird. Like, listen to this shit. It's a bird in Africa, I believe. And what they do when they have an egg they need to lay, they go to another bird's nest. They lay their egg in there. The egg, and they know because of nature, they just know it, and they know the timing. The egg hatches earlier than the other eggs, okay? And then once the other eggs start hatching, that imposter egg murders the other eggs. So when the other parent comes back, it thinks it's feeding its baby, but it's really another bird's baby.
Savage.
Dude, it was crazy.
But
That is some sick shit.
so if animals can act like that, why can't I? How
Because
far
we are
back?
sophisticated beings.
Hardly. How far back was that?
I don't know, maybe a week ago?
Oh, he posts a lot. I'll look at it later. That's crazy.
Yeah, amazing. I was like, holy shit.
Man, sometimes I'm scrolling through there and I appreciate it. It's a dope account, but you got to admit, sometimes you're scrolling and they haven't, the sensitive content thing didn't pop up there yet. And you see like a bloody elk face with a wolf ripping it out. You're like, okay, that's what I wanted to see.
See, no, I disagree. I mean, I think when you follow the page, you know exactly what you're signing up for.
I'm just a pussy.
I guess that is maybe the case.
Oh,
But no, I read the comments all the time, and people are like, you should really, let us know. I'm like, why the fuck should he have to let you know? I was like, it's his page, and nature is metal. It's in the name. You have to fucking put 2 and 2 together and realize that you're probably going to see some gory shit. Like, there was one he just posted of the mountain lion going after the fucking goat, and they fell off a mountain cliff. They both died on impact on the road underneath. And, like, the mountain lion is, like, dead with, like, fur from the goat in its mouth. And the goat fell so hard, the sheath of his horn popped off. And you could see the innards of the horn.
That's crazy. Because
I love that page. Because also, it makes me, like, people like, oh, nature. Like you said before, it's Timon and Pumbaa analogy. This shit's fucked, man. And people got to know.
well, we can't talk about that. Rogan talked about it.
Oh, yeah. Cactus Boy said that. God damn it.
He also talked about Tiger King, so we got to stop. He talks about Trump. We got to stop. I think it's time to quit the podcast.
I guess so. I guess you're not allowed to talk about anything that people have talked about in the past. So, all right. All right. This was fun. Bye.
Here's a little sidebar. And it's crazy you mentioned that. For like the last 2 years, and maybe it's just because I listen to Joe Rogan incessantly, literally, definitely every single day, almost all day, every single day. It's unhealthy. But I started noticing, really since I got to my parents' house, these crazy coincidences. Like they'd be talking about something, and then an hour later, the exact same thing would play out. I'm like, I was just like, that happened like a bunch of times in a row. And what's crazy is I was in the backlogs listening to an old one from 2017 with a guy I like. And I'm out there spinning my sign, doing my job, and I kind of zone out. And then before this, and this is just a little side note, they talked about that. So that must be an old photo from 2 or 3 years ago that he's posting or reposting. That's just crazy that you brought that up. But, and this kind of can take us into our next topic or whatever, who gives a fuck. I'm listening half zoned out, and I hear his producer like, I have a buddy in Orlando and they tried to leave and it's gridlocked. And then they tried to get gas and there was no gas and it's scary and all this. And in my pea brain, I'm like, COVID-19, Zach was just talking about hurricanes. They were freaking. They're like, this is the worst ever. Turns out they're talking about Hurricane Irma from 2017. I go in my car. I start texting Zach, like, we got to talk about hurricanes. He's like, it's not even hurricane season, dude. And then I realized what I did. So that was fun.
It's coming up, though.
Do you think, will this be going on into hurricane season?
I think so. Oh, yeah, dude. We're going to be seeing residual effects of this till the end of the year. Oh yeah. Like this was the story and the event of the year. Like there will be headlines in December like COVID-19, like because of COVID-19. It's still we're going to be talking about this for the rest of the year. Guaranteed.
Isn't it crazy? We are right now living in a moment that a kid whose parents might not even be born yet is going to read about in a textbook 70 years from now.
Oh, it's going to be amazing. It's the 2020 COVID-19 pandemic. Like this is and they're fucking saying that now they're predicting, like I think this is a common prediction going on from what I've been reading. 200,000 Americans are supposedly going to die. And it seems like even the lead people of the task force that does the press conferences are getting behind it.
Well, that's pretty bleak.
I know, very bleak. That's almost 250,000 people. So I just think it's crazy. And I will say this too. Did you see how people that are fleeing from New York to come to Florida and like from other states because of the liberties that are hindered in other states, and they're coming down to Florida? And did you see how they're doing a checkpoint to get into the state?
No.
Oh my God. It's amazing. Look it up. They had an aerial view of the news chopper, and there's a line of cars on the interstate to get into Florida, but they're checking everyone. They're screening people. And if you have any sort of inclination that you might be, carrying the virus, you have to quarantine for 14 days, and they're threatening them with jail time if they don't.
Good.
Oh yeah, I know. It's good. But it's amazing to see how many people are lined up on that road to get into Florida. That just goes to show you how lax Florida is compared to all these other huge metropolitan areas. You know what I mean?
Well, what I do like, if I'm understanding it correctly, I was talking to the manager at my work, and then my boss after that, and they've been saying shut down for about 2 weeks now, and they're buying into the fear. But what I do like, again, this is if I understood it correctly, DeSantis, our governor, Ron DeSantis, basically made the decision like, look, I'm not going to be Mr. Big Brother government. If we are like ground zero, then yeah, but I'm going to let counties and cities and mayors and elected officials handle this on a state level, which, I mean, I'm never going to disagree with that. But I think apparently Osceola County's down. I don't know about you.
We're down. We were the first ones to go full lockdown.
What are you, Orange?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're getting there. What's crazy, I sent this to you earlier, and I understand. I'm definitely not a coronavirus COVID-19 truther, or I don't know what to believe. I know there are, in 2017, how about that? There was 354,000 people in our county. Our county's pretty spread out. It's not huge. It's not dense. So that's a good amount of people. I saw, and that was in 2017. So let's go crazy and say 400,000.
Right.
Last time I checked, 10 people in my county of 400,000 people tested positive, quarantined, and are going about their business. Did they give it to someone else? I don't know, but that seems like an overreaction to me.
You think? Based on the numbers and who tested positive?
I don't believe the numbers.
You don't believe the numbers. Well, from what I've been reading is that more people are testing out negative than they are positive.
Okay.
Now, what's the population of your county?
400,000.
Okay. The population of my county is 1.3 million.
Ew.
Yeah. So let's see. Coronavirus.
I'm looking at
county.
Sorry, I'm looking at the checkpoints right now.
Yeah, it pulled up.
I'll just Google coronavirus Florida. It's crazy. Yeah, they're at the Georgia border, man. People be going nuts.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
We don't want you here.
All right, so say it again.
I said, we don't want you here. They're the people that
I
give
know.
a bad name. It's not even native Floridians half the time.
I know. Floridians are fucking doing their part. It's all these spring breaker motherfuckers. And then people who are fleeing New York, it's like, bitch, like, you should have known if this ever happened living in New York, you're going to be restricted way harder than any other state. Like, you can't be coming down here now just because you don't want to jive with it when it hits the fan.
I agree.
We have 50 cases being investigated in Orange County. We have 40 cases confirmed.
Okay.
So anyway, that's Orange County. Not to be confused with Orange County, California. I live in the same county as Orange County, California, but in Florida.
I live in Ocala, and when you're traveling elsewhere, people are like, oh, where are you from? Oh, I'm from Ocala, Florida. Where in California? When I say Los Angeles, I'm a movie producer. The 2009 swine flu pandemic claimed, I saw something real quick of like 3,000 deaths in Florida.
I think New York has that many. No. I think we have over 4,000 cases.
Of swine?
No. Oh shit. I thought how about
I'm
Corona?
comparing. Yeah, I was just, I look at that every so often just because I can remember. Maybe it's because I was younger and I wasn't as privy and in tune to the public freaking out. I wasn't on social media, I don't think, when swine flu was going on. So
Yeah, I wasn't either.
it might have been just as devastating, but if a tree falls in the forest and no one's around to tweet about it, did it really fall?
Bro, you need to start watching that docu-series Pandemic.
Okay.
And came out in 2019. The timing's impeccable. And they were talking about, like, they interviewed this doctor who lives in fucking Oklahoma or some shit. I can't remember. Small town, and they talked to her, and she wants to be like, and it's funny because the main girl that are talking to for the series, she must be hard at work right now because she's like the head of pandemic disease breakout in New York City. Like, and she's supposed to contain it. So she's probably balls to the wall busy. But they interviewed this other small town doctor, and she's the only doctor in this hospital. And she's like, I live in this, I eat in this hospital or this building. I sleep in this building, because she's the only doctor. So she works like 72-hour shifts at a time. And she was basically brought on to stress the fact that, like, I don't know what I would do in a pandemic. I just don't know if we'd be able to control it. And I'm like, But anyway, so I don't even know. I got to watch the thing. I can't remember where the fuck she was located, but I would love to see where she is and see how many cases are happening in her area. But anyway, they go on to talk about, and they interview a lot of these scientists who are like developing, like, the couple of scientists are trying to develop a vaccine that's able to be applied to all strains of the influenza virus, which is, you know, essentially what this is and shit like that. Like, that's what they're working towards. But he had one part where he was doing this speech in front of a bunch of, you know, scientific professionals and everything. And he was basically saying, like, you know how this one part stood out to me because I like to believe that I am this person he's talking about. And he was saying, you know how there's those people, you know, that say they never get the flu shot and they just never get sick, you know, don't they just piss you off? And in my head immediately, I'm like, that's me. You know, like, I never get the flu shot. I don't even know if I can say I've gotten the flu. Like, if I did, I must have brushed it off because I just know the flu sounds miserable from people I know that have had it. And he was like, those people have just the appropriate antibodies. Like, those people have their bodies just develop the antibodies to defeat, like, all strains of the influenza virus or some shit. And I'm starting to believe I'm one of those people. That's the point of that. Because I just don't get it. Like, I mean, I get it, but, like, I think back in my my youth and my adolescence, and like I just don't remember ever getting flu sick. Like I rarely get a fever. Like I'll get sick, like I'll get a cold, shit like that, but I don't remember the last time I even had a fever.
Bro,
I mean, and I'm thankful. I'm very thankful. And I might start to believe I have these antibodies.
I think you might be onto something. And not to stick your dick too much, but I can't think of a time, and maybe I'm just having a dummy brain moment. I can't remember the last time you were sick, and now I can't remember thinking of a time where it's like, oh, Zach's down for the count. Maybe once, a bad cold, like everybody gets.
Yeah, I mean, my neck thing was the biggest medical incident of my life.
That was a thing. That seems like it was a fluke of a. I'm not saying you didn't have it. It's just like.
Oh, I mean, I had it. It was physically there. I mean, I have pictures.
Oh, the world knows you had it, pal. I'm pretty sure episode 3 of Somewhat Savants was dedicated to cat scratch.
My lymph nodes!
What?
My lymph nodes.
Oh, your lymph nodes.
But yes, no, it wasn't even a fucking lymph node. Goddamn sack of clear fluid. Dissipated mid-biopsy.
Did America need the COVID-19 pandemic to happen?
Fuck no. Who needs a pandemic to happen?
Did we need 9/11 to happen?
Maybe some rich people did.
Did we need the Kennedy assassination to happen?
Again, maybe the Illuminati did.
That was.
Look, I'll say this. One theory floating around, I saw this video on Now This. You know Now This? Yeah. Well, they did a video on – it's funny because I'm like, wait, are you trying to promote this method? Because here in the U.S., you're way against it. I forget what country. It was like the Netherlands. The Netherlands is approaching the COVID-19 virus in this fashion. They're trying to do – have you heard of herd immunity? Have you heard that theory yet? Basically, that theory is allowing just everyone to get it and then everyone developing a herd immunity towards it. And, like, it's basically survival of the fittest. And I guess they're going that route. Like, they've opened shit back up, according to Now This. And they've opened shit back up. People are going to their weed shops, their coffee shops, and that's the route they're going. But they're kind of easing into it. And now that's the route they're obviously trying to avoid here in the States. They're like, fuck the herd mentality because they're basically saying, like, it's not worth to lose any lives over this because unfortunately herd immunity, you're going to lose people because that's essentially saying, like, all right, well, if we collectively build up an immunity towards it, it can't come back and hit us stronger. But that leaves people at risk who can't develop the immunity because, I mean, it's still as devastating as this is, 90% of people are going to recover from it. But anyway, they're going that route. And I thought that was interesting. And I thought it was interesting that Now This made a story about it as if they were promoting it because they're so against anything like Trump is going to say, like, I want the thing open. I want the economy back at April 12th. Like that's basically promoting like, fuck it, wherever we're at, let's go herd immunity. You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand why they would showcase that because they put it in the light as if it was a good thing to do. Like, I don't know if that's the best thing to do. The way they're describing the ramifications of this disease. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I don't know.
Now, this is what I will say about Now This.
Yeah, they're up there with Vice. They're bullshit.
They're worse than Vice. Well, Vice lately, I don't know.
Yeah, but BuzzFeed is the king of the worst.
BuzzFeed's been chilling lately.
Yeah, they've been chilling. They fucking bullshit.
I went through like a 2-month BuzzFeed phase, like sophomore year of high school. Like
they used to be like just your random social media news. Now they're considered legit.
I know. I just liked looking at lists and finding out which Pirates of the Caribbean character I was.
Now it's like BuzzFeed. Senator so-and-so.
The last...
They've got like a media pass to the White House.
we had a media pass to fucking pockets, so anything can happen.
Anything can happen. If we can get media passes, I can't put it past anyone.
The last thing I saw from Now This was a very passionate and detailed video on how we need to stop using the word marijuana. And,
what?
And every time he would say it, he was a Hispanic Latino individual. He'd say, "We need to stop using the term marijuana because it's racist."
Please enlighten me on why.
Because it's just the term they used back in the day to say, like, this is a wild tobacco. They're smoking the marijuana. Like back in the 30s, Reefer Madness, when they were trying to saying, oh, they're going and they're killing our white women. Like, it was propaganda, yeah. They did make up the name marijuana, which literally means wild tobacco. But, I mean, their whole thing was the word marijuana was so inherently racist that you shouldn't use it anymore.
It's racist?
Oh, also.
Now this.
Brought to you by Now This.
Here's a story.
They had another passionate piece on digital blackface.
Digital blackface. Like
No, you just got canceled, dude. I'll renew it. Using a black person in a GIF or an emoji, it's racist because we're using that. It's like we're saying dance, boy, because I use a GIF that doesn't affect anybody.
Are you fucking kidding me? I'll just go talk to my old roommate, Leonard. He's black. He'll be able to tell me if this is legit or not.
Digital blackface is becoming a thing. I saw someone talking about it on Twitter the other day, like, I'm not very well versed in digital blackface, but I'm willing to have the conversation. Fuck you.
God damn it. Just shackle yourself to the wall because you can't do anything anymore.
I don't know, but Justin Trudeau can do legitimate blackface, and he's the Prime Minister of Canada.
Canada? Move to Canada.
Oh, here's a story. I want to tell you this as I try to attempt to stay on some semblance of organization. So I went to work. I work it's probably 35, 40 minutes from where I am. It's a straight shot, but I mean, it's like a 20-mile drive down this one big road because I don't live as close to in town anymore. So oftentimes I'm bad at judging, am I going to need gas? And I don't have a credit card. And I didn't have any cash on me because I didn't need to get anything. I was going to work and coming right home. I had like a quarter tank, but get to work, obviously, by the time I'm going, what freaked me out, my light used to come on. Did your car tell you how many miles?
Oh, yeah, my car's dude, I know the average I'm getting. It's fucking crazy.
Well, my car...
I shouldn't have this car.
No. My car used to be great at my light would come on with about 21 miles left. And more than enough to get me where I got to go. That could have got me home. And I'm sitting there. It's not on E. And then the light comes on. I'm like, oh, shit. I click it. 7 miles. What? Where did my other 14 miles go?
Someone siphoned your tank.
No, because I was sitting in the car a while.
Oh, right.
So I go scrounging, and this is like a positive coronavirus story. I go scrounging through my car. I know you've been there. You're like $1.10 short of getting a puff bar or a pack of things, and you just rifle through that car, getting pennies, quarters, dimes, anything you can. Maybe that's just me because I was a drug addict who always spent his money and am living in a world of perpetual financial crippling. But
I've done it for nicotine. I ain't gonna lie.
Oh, well, when you get when the monkey's on the back, a lot of things can happen. I've compared, this is just another side note, I'll say this, for like the first 24 hours, nicotine withdrawal was much more anxious and unbearable than opiate withdrawal.
No shit. No wonder I was having such a hard time today.
But opiate withdrawal, you're in it for the long haul, and it's like the flu plus an NFL game the next day. It's terrible.
So basically, nicotine withdrawal is quick. It sucks. Opioid withdrawal sucks, but it's longer.
It's like a marathon. Nicotine's a sprint. Back to the story. So I scrounged through the car. I managed to get like, what did I say, $2?
$2.
Oh, I didn't even tell you this story. I told my mom. I'm talking to you like you know it. I got, and actually I think it was like $1.50. It was more than a gallon. So I go, and of course I'm that guy at the counter. First of all, it's one of those tiny gas stations, you know, like the things in the middle.
Where it's like hardly even a shop on the inside.
They had a big sign that said COVID-19 precautions, no more than 3 people in here at a time. So
that's how 7-Eleven was for me today.
I can understand that. And I'll even be honest, when I'm standing in there with the other 3 people, I'm looking around like, one of these motherfuckers can have this. But I am counting all my change. I'm the guy doing loose dimes. Everyone's on edge. They're trying to freak out. I'm sweaty. I'm upset. I'm like, I gotta go. I was late from work. I wanted to do the podcast. And then I run out there and go to do it. It pops up. I'm hitting it. Nothing's happening. I'm like, shit. So I'm going back in to say like, hey, my thing's not working. And I trip over the hose, fall, like I'm having a time here. I go back. She's like, reset the panel. And I'm like, okay. So I go and I'm pumping. I'm just kind of like looking. And then I realize like, I've been sitting here for a minute, way longer than $2 worth of gas. And then she comes out. I'm like, hey, I don't know what's going on. If you press something, like I'm thinking I just got free gas. And I'm like, oh shit. And I guess because the man behind me saw my struggle of counting coins, decided to buy me a full tank of gas.
Oh, that's fucking dope.
And I almost wanted to cry. I want to think about it now. And then he came walking out. He almost looked like, and this is just what it is. I had a friend with this, somebody with alopecia. They can't grow hair.
Right.
He was very fair, but I was like really kind of overcome with emotion. I'm looking at the cashier like, whoa, who is it? Where? And he walked out and gave me the thing, and at the top of my lungs, because I was so excited, I screamed, "You fucking rock!" And there's like grandmas and there's kids over there. I'm like, shit. They won't take my joy. I feel like I needed that. I sometimes I get in a funk and I get lonely, especially with the quarantine. So
that's a great story because it shows like the true nature of human beings. Like as despicable and vile we are, like, you know, people be out here doing good things.
That's my hope and this is why I said that earlier. 9/11, I don't remember this. I got to go off of people's accounts. For a long time in New York, of all places, one of the meaner, more aggressive cities, everybody was treating it like it's small town Georgia. Everyone was just so nice, and we're in this together, and we're loving, and we're going to get them. But that's because I think there was a collective enemy that we can see and we can shoot and put our hands on. I want so badly for us to band together and say, you know what, we're gonna figure this out as a human race, not even Americans, because it's affecting everybody. But man, we ain't doing that.
Nah, man, it's. I was telling Sky this the other night. I was like, because I told her months ago, I was like, you watch. I was like, this will turn political, and that's the only thing it's turned more so than trying to fight it. And it's because you said it. You can't see it.
It's terrifying.
There was no visual representation. Unless you know someone who's infected, you just don't. It's just something that's happening right now.
But even then, if you know somebody who's infected, what are you going to do about it? Like,
I mean, shit. Like I told you earlier, I'm not going to say names, but I've got 2 people I might know that could have it.
That's crazy.
Who've been tested. And we'll see. And I just can't believe it takes 7 days to get your results. That's fucked up.
Yeah. Did you talk to them? Did they have to get the nasal swab? Probably.
No, I haven't gotten the deets. I think they had it done right before that was a thing.
That looks so painful.
Yeah, I mean, fucking A. They said it was uncomfortable.
Oh.
Uncomfortable.
But yeah, I figured. Tell me, I don't know. Tell me something good about your shit self.
Something good about my shit self?
Yeah.
Yo, peep this shit. I got a desk now. Did you notice my background's a little different? All right, so peep this. I went to Walmart because, look, we got a small place, you know. I don't got a lot of room. Like, we got one desk, but...
1 bedroom?
Yeah, 1 bedroom. Sky's got to use the desk for her work because she's working from home. Got a living room. And the one thing I'm lacking is a desk. So I decided to go look at some, some desks. And what I decided to buy was one of these. A black foldable table.
Okay.
So this is my desk. And this is what I've been needing. This is what I've been missing. I needed a desk. So I got one now. And here we are.
I'll say my mind went total opposite. And I was like, is that one of those super fancy desks that goes up and down?
What? No.
It looks like it at first.
It's a straight up foldable table, bruh.
Does it hold the things that are sitting on top of it?
Yep. Then we good. I ain't picky, man. This is the struggle years, baby. Until I'm in my fucking late 30s, I don't expect to have anything worthwhile.
When's the last time New Year got off to such a shit start?
Oh, shit. When was a shitty year?
Think about everything else, too. Like Kobe.
That was all this year.
It's
Kobe, Australia on fire, like all of that. Bam, 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 bam.
It always, every year, without fail, till the end of time, someone, January 2nd or the first week of January, man, 2020 already bum ass, take me to 2021. Or when it comes time to roll over to the new year, like, I ain't even saying goodbye to 2020. Like, okay, thanks. But now, those type of posts, this might be the only time I won't get furious at you saying, yo, 2020 sucks.
I know. It's the only time. Exactly. I agree with you. I'm like, nah, he right. 2020 fucking blows.
I can't. We've had years where bad stuff happens. Bad stuff happens every year. It just seems like I can't recall a time this early in a new year where just boom, da boom, da boom, da boom.
Right. And then that's why the whole hurricane thing is a fucking thing, because we're on the precipice of getting into hurricane season, which I think is in June. And I read an article saying that that this season's going to be more intense than previous seasons. And I'm just sitting here just like, woo, my Florida man ass, just like, bring it the fuck on. Like, let's fucking go, dog. We're already in a pandemic. Like, I mean, I hate to be that sick fuck, but like at this point, fuck it. Who cares? I mean, everything's so fucked. Like, I read this comment the other day. I died. I fucking died, bro. Because I'm looking at like different things. Like, I'm on the internet way more than I should be. And this fucking dude, like, they're talking about something that had to do with COVID-19. And like, I'm reading the comments and oh, that's what it was. It was like our local news station being like, oh, the weather's beautiful. You can go outside. It's going to be high 80s and no clouds. It's going to be fucking great. And everyone's basically being like, who cares? Who gives a fuck? We can't go outside anyway. And this one comment, I had a screenshot. It was so funny. It was Mark Cosma. I don't even know who the fuck you are. You might never see this, but he's a real person because it was on Facebook. And he just wrote, does it frickin' matter? By Friday, there will be no reason to go out anywhere because it'll all be closed. Let it rain, snow, sleet. Screw it, hurricane. Who cares? And I fucking died. I was like, he's right. At this point, it doesn't even fucking matter. Like, everything's canceled. We've extended it to April 30th. The federal guidelines are now till April 30th. And those are the fucking White House's guidelines. And we all know how eager Trump is to get this shit out of the way. But every scientist is telling him otherwise, that it's not going to happen. And here we are, you know? Like, what's going to happen? April 30th, and we got May, June, hurricane season's here. You know, we're still going to be reeling from the COVID fucking after effects, and who the hell knows what's going to happen. But then again, they say it's going to be a more busy hurricane season every fucking year. I feel like they said that last year. I feel like they said that the year before. So when it comes to the hurricanes, I'll believe it when I see it.
What was supposed to happen April 30th?
The guidelines, the White House guidelines, the 15 days to spread the slow the spread, like no gatherings over 10. It's that stupid. Have you watched any of the conferences? Okay, it's that stupid fucking piece of paper that Mike Pence holds up every time Trump gets done roasting reporters. Mike Pence comes and tries to repair the damage and be like, and once again, the American people, if you just listen to the guidelines, you know, fucking lizard man Pence, the guidelines, you know, he's weird. Like, I'm just fucking saying it how it is. And
don't talk about my vice president that way.
Oh, Jesus Christ. He's just a little too, he's a little too groomed, man. He freaks me out. And like, God, I'd rather hear Trump talk than him sometimes. But anyway, he pulls up the piece of paper and it's like the White House's guidelines, 15 days to slow the spread. And then anyway, that paper, the guidelines on that paper have been extended to April 30th because originally they were supposed to be done like, what is it, April 1st? Like it was just the rest of March, basically. So now we have a whole nother month tacked on, 30 more days. Disney just announced they're closed indefinitely. Like, fuck. They're not taking reservations starting until June 1st. So you can't reserve anything unless it's June 1st or onward. So basically, my work is fucked until fall.
April 30th is my wedding anniversary.
Hey, well, listen, my sister's getting married May 30th, so I pray to God that her wedding does not get affected by this because she's already had to cancel her bridal shower. I mean, like, it sucks, man. Like, it's fucked up. Like, I didn't even think about that. Like, all the funerals that can't be had, all the weddings that can't be had. You know 2 people?
2 people who have passed away, and they can't do it.
You can't have a funeral. The funeral home's like, nah, we can't. Like, it's fucking fucked. Like, I mean, you can't even mourn your loved ones right now.
Yeah. That,
which is why part of me is like, stay the fuck inside. Yeah.
Well, one of the guys, we used to go to church with the family. And I mean, I don't know. He just died. No drugs were in the area. They thought he had an aneurysm. He just suddenly, he was like probably 35, dead.
Bro, aneurysms are scary as fuck. You never know when it could kill you.
My aunt, when I was really young, here's a crazy story. Whatever.
It's a crazy story.
It's bizarre. My aunt had an aneurysm while driving, crashed the car.
Jerry.
Died.
Sorry.
It was my father's sister-in-law. Well, when they go to like clean everything up and my uncle gets the car and her purse, he goes in there and there was this big long note like, I've been cheating on you, I'm leaving you.
Oh.
And she's dead. That's crazy. You remember George Clooney, Shailene Woodley, The Descendants?
I never saw it.
It's a very similar premise of, spoiler alert, that's a good quarantine movie. It's just a good movie. Clooney does really well. His wife gets in a jet ski accident, and then he finds out while she's in a coma that she's been having this crazy affair, and he's got to like be there. Everyone's like, we're here for her. She's a vegetable. And he's like, I hate this bitch.
Oh God, that's brutal.
Interesting. And it's, what I like about it, it's set in Hawaii and it's beautiful. And like the opening line of the movie, Clooney's like, I live in Hawaii. Everyone's dream vacation. Everyone's paradise. And I'm like just going off about everything great about Hawaii. He's like, well, for me, it fucking sucks. Boom, and it just goes into the movie. It's like, yeah.
Okay.
But that is messed up. No funerals. Did you see our girl Bindi Irwin got married?
Bro, I know. Bindi Irwin, dude. Steve Irwin's kin. God damn it. Fucking love that family. Fuck.
Are they the first family of wildlife?
Hands down. No one touches them. They're untouchable.
Hey, I saw, first of all, since I mentioned to you via text message, have you ever tried those master classes? And you said you have.
Yes.
One.
I've watched Mamet, Spacey, parts of Sorkin, parts of Helen Mirren, and that's it.
What did Spacey teach you how to grab and
Bro, I watched Spacey before shit hit the fan. He was one of the first acting instructors on there.
Honestly, from a pure acting standpoint, I'd still listen to what he had to say.
Oh, bro, and he's a good actor. I mean, fucking A. Like, do I endorse his fucking behavior? God, no. But, I mean, I'm not going to strip away his talent.
Maybe.
I mean, he's fucking good.
You know what's crazy? And I'm going to get...
I'll question his inspiration, though.
Bro, my mind is like a steel trap. Everyone's like, this show's so random. And then somehow everything comes back around. We forget things. We get back there. I've got it in my head. I've got like a list. And then what I was going to say, what were we just talking about?
Kevin Spacey.
Masterclass. Oh, this was my side note, then back to the original. See, I told you I got it. What's crazy is probably months before the Kevin Spacey stuff dropped, remember, we might have been his biggest fans, watched that King Lear, Richard III movie. We're like, he's just such a great guy. He's the best guy. We love him. And then a couple months later, skadoosh.
It fucking sucks because they stripped off that goddamn movie from Netflix, the one we were talking about, the fucking...
Yeah, I watched American Beauty not too long ago. Again.
It's a great movie. I'm going to probably rewatch House of Cards. It's the perfect time.
I want to, but it's almost like...
Did you finish the last season?
No.
Oh, God. Doug's loyalty is untouchable. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, Netflix's loyalty to their star is... that's an impossible...
It's questionable.
That's an impossible situation. Yeah, and one, who knows how long he was doing that before. That's the thing with all these Hollywood...
I mean, you got to cut ties with them. I mean, fuck them. Like, I would have done the same shit. I'm like, yo, you're way bad. Like, snip, you're out.
Yeah, I want to keep talking about this, but I'm going to kill myself if I don't say the point. A commercial that I've been getting a ton of for Masterclass came on. We were talking about, like, the first family of wildlife. It was Jane Goodall, and...
Oh, shit.
She doesn't say... You know how they always open and it'll show, like... I don't write plays, I write life. I'm David Mamet. And then, boom, hers popped up, and she was just going like a chimp. And it was just the most uncomfortable thing. And she's like, what I'm saying to you now is welcome to my class. I'm like, how do you know you're saying that? Like, what is that? I respect her for putting herself out there. She's got to have a screw loose. Have you ever heard her talk about Bigfoot?
You believe?
Me, no.
Nah, bro. In Florida, we got swamp apes. But anyway, keep going.
Scared me when I first found out about them. My brother was like, it was a whole thing. Skunk ape.
Skunk ape. Yeah, that's right. Skunk apes.
There's a clip of her, and I heard this on Rogan.
Third eye.
Talking to the BBC, and they were asking her like the idea of Bigfoot, and she, in her Jane Goodall British lady accent, saying something like, "I've lived with Native Americans, and the stories have been passed down for years. I've always been a romantic, but if you asked me, do I believe in Bigfoot? I would tell you, I'm sure of it." Just says it was such conviction. You're like, whoa. That lady lived with monkeys for years.
I mean, listen, no one knows him better than she does. I'll give her that.
What kind of monkey business was going on in the trees some nights, you know what I mean?
Hey, Harambe, come here.
Hey, too soon.
Dude, Harambe, man.
Harambe, what a legend.
Fucking legend.
You know what's upsetting? Right now, this is all Joe Exotic ever wanted, was this notoriety, and he can't even enjoy it.
Bro, he'll be able to enjoy it. Listen, Joe Exotic.
Years.
Huh?
He got 22 years.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
He's appealing.
I keep forgetting he's in fucking jail. Oh, shit. I'm sitting here like, nah, man, we'll see when the Netflix premiere. It's straight. No.
Right. Yeah, I was very confused because obviously a little bit you told me and tons of spoilers just on, I mean, you can't avoid Tiger King at this point if you're on the internet. And in the beginning, it was very confusing because like I started to believe Carol was dead. Is she dead?
No.
Oh, they made it sound like Joe killed her. And that's why I don't know why he's
No, her sanctuary is still operating.
She's done for.
Oh yeah, I mean like I'm telling you, she fucking agreed to do this to expose him, but it completely backfired on her.
Yeah, and everyone's gonna go to GW Zoo, and
right, because I was sitting there thinking like, why would she agree to do this? But the only thing I could think of was to expose him. Exactly. People love him, and everyone hates her. I think it's a collective agreement that everyone thinks she's just as bad, but because she's not as cool, fuck her.
Hashtag Carol Baskin killed her husband was like trending #1 on Twitter the other day.
Oh, it's insane. And I believe it.
I've not gotten to any of that, so I'm very excited. Honestly, once we're done here, I'm going to probably hop on and I'll be texting you, what the fuck?
Yeah, dude, it's fucked up. It's one of the best. I mean, it's great because it's like Animal World. I love it.
Netflix hasn't had a hitter this impactful, unless I'm forgetting one, since Making a Murderer. That had
Making a Murderer?
Making a Murderer, given the circumstances, because we were not on quarantine, so it might be relative, the exchange rate. The last time I can remember everyone collectively freaking out about a Netflix documentary series was Making a Murderer, only to be severely disappointed in the end.
Yeah.
Did that guy do it?
I don't even know. I never watched that show.
Netflix is amazing at making those docu-series that will change your opinion every single episode and then leave you with...
Yeah, like the show I Am a Killer. I love it.
Yeah. What I like about I'm a Killer is at least you get to like look those people in the eye and see like that.
How fucking crazy they are.
Dude, well, then you get the ones that aren't. And you're like, oh, man, you just made a mistake. A big one. But, I mean, you were a baby when you did that. You were 18, 20 years old.
I know. It's fucked. It's fucked up.
But more and more I'm seeing, I'll give Kim Kardashian some credit, her prison reform. And in one way, social media has been weaponized for good. That one guy in Arkansas or Alabama got his execution stayed. The black guy. And
The
that
one
case,
that
Rodney something?
is that the one who was like, who was in the car with all the people?
No. This wasn't on I'm a Killer. This was
Okay.
recent. No, and it's actually, I'm talking out of my ass, but I remember it being like a very bullshit case. What happened was he was this black guy, I'm just, because that's what it is. This man was having an affair with this guy's wife.
Mm-hmm.
Not illegal. Guy came home and caught him, killed the wife. The guy got away.
Okay. God, killed the wife. Jesus Christ.
Black guy's, and I think he might have killed himself. I don't know. I'm sketchy on the details. Regardless, the husband definitely killed the wife, but the black guy's DNA from is all over the lady. So, and this, I believe, happened, like, he's been in prison for decades and happened before DNA and all this stuff. And now with making a murderer paving a way for things like the Innocence Project, this got to Twitter and it was like, there's 72 hours till this man is going to be wrongfully murdered. Figure it out. And this is the only time I ever signed up for one of those online things. And I kind of regret it, even though it did work, so I don't regret it. But you know whose email database I entered into and now I somehow can't seem to escape his spam is that fucking Sean King.
Oh, shit.
He's just...
Yeah, dude. He's the big one.
And I mean, I wouldn't even mind like a couple like equality emails maybe once a week, but dude stays busy.
Bro, you got to unsubscribe.
I've clicked it. How many times do you click unsubscribe and then 2 days later you see it in your inbox again? You're like,
I don't know what loopholes they go through, but yes, there's a few emails I get where I'm just like, dude, what the fuck? I've unsubscribed from you like 4 times.
Because you can make it, I was just working on my dad's website and thinking about this. You can make it like in 0.2 size font, say, check this box if you're really sure about it, or uncheck this box if you don't mean it, like little stuff like that. So you could hit that and you just can't see, or it's at the bottom of the page. Like there's tons of little
tricks and shit.
It's creepy.
Yeah, because I got a few emails coming in my inbox now. I'm just like, what the fuck did I search?
Yeah, I had that. You're frozen again. There you are. That wasn't that bad.
Yeah, I would say you froze.
Yeah.
You froze. There we are.
All I had was, I mean, we don't, I like putting the topics up there, but I also like talking about whatever we want. I feel like there was something. I got to get you one of these microphones, because what I want to do is we each set it up. I think the audio might be a little better. It's not bad though.
Yeah, I mean, I got a lav mic that I could try and use.
Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't know the efficacy of that. But I, just to test it out today, listened to the last episode in my car with this audio.
Shit.
Wait, what'd you say?
Is it shit?
No. I mean, it's not great, but it's not unlistenable.
Yeah, I mean, because I listened to that episode too, and there's parts where I'm like cutting in and out like a motherfucker.
Yeah. And I try to, typically my rule of thumb, if I can decipher what you said, if you were saying Joe Exotic is Tiger King, and it was Joe Tiger King, I'm like, okay, I kind of got what he said. But then that could probably get grossly misinterpreted sometimes, and we could end up in fisticuffs.
Well, I mean, fuck it. We got to put out content. So, I mean, I'd rather have it out than have it shitty and out than nothing at all.
And we got 2, actually. I completely forgot we recorded them. We got other episodes. They're just old.
Yeah.
Man, there was more things. But
what were the things?
I don't know. Sometimes when I'm at a loss. I'm really
Sometimes being at a loss is a blessing in disguise.
one time our friend, I don't think Sura told me once.
Oh, fucking A, sir. I haven't seen.
I miss that
Damn.
girl. She's a good kid.
He was cool.
She was cool as hell.
Her sister's about to have a baby.
Wow, shout out to her. I'll tell you what, very passionate. Sora was very, very passionate about acting.
Hey, you know what? They moved to LA and they stuck by their word and they're still there.
They did. And you know what? I was a hater. And I hope she can see this and be like, I told you so. And I'm sure it's not easy, but I remember thinking like, I'll see you back here in a couple months. I've thought that for a lot of friends. And you know what?
4 years later.
I'll be proven wrong on that. She told me once, because I still can have a bad habit of feeling the need and obligation to fill silence and be entertaining and be on. That's kind of like the conversation we had where you feel like you just gotta, if energy's dipping, then I'm gonna make fun of you or something like that.
Right.
And she just, I don't even know she realized she was doing it. Just so, and she's just, it was very innocent and genuine. She was like, sometimes sometimes silence is nice. And I was just like, you know what? I needed someone to tell me that, because I would always equate silence with awkwardness and uncomfortability. But she's exactly right. And I'm sure you have your own version of this, but like some of the most intimate moments you can have with people, you ain't saying shit.
There's a reason why that movie phrase, silence is golden, is true. But yeah, listen, like Sarah, you know the story. I drove her from Melbourne, her and I, to acting class for a year straight. We never missed a day.
In a truck.
Yep, Mazda B3000. Missed that baby.
That was Mazda's one and only truck they ever made. Then they said, that was a mistake.
Basically a Ford Ranger with a different number on it.
I like that truck. If I was to ever get a truck, it would be around that size.
I want a Dodge Ram.
Bro, you've got a very bad miles per gallon track record going lately, and I think you need to reconsider.
Listen, man, all that means is it just got to force me to make some money.
Oh, then
that's the mentality. Gary V. No, that's not the mentality.
I'm gonna go start.
Do what makes you happy.
I'm gonna start shooting heroin. It's just gonna make me have to make more money.
You'll be dead, dude. Don't do that.
What was I? Oh, here's some. It's funny because we were just talking about both these things. The last episode or the one I haven't put out yet about the UFC. First, John Jones. Wait, we might have talked about this already. Did I tell you he got arrested again?
No.
Okay, well, who some consider the greatest of all time, mixed martial artist, has had such a long history with steroids and drugs and law enforcement. And what makes it worse is he puts on the super Christian act. And it's like, dude, we know that's not who you are. Just a couple days ago, he got hit with another DWI. And I guess he was just shooting his gun off in the air and then lied to the cops about having a gun. And they went in his car and they're like, here's the gun. And here's how many bullets are missing. And here's the bullets. So he's an idiot. So there's that in sports news. And everybody knows there's been quite a shortage of sport. Some people it affects more than others. Myself, Packers, you, Scarves.
No. Hold on.
What's a sport you mildly care about? Oh,
hold on. I got your sport right here.
Is it a bottle of Jim Beam?
Derek Brooks, baby.
That's Tiki Barber, idiot.
Oh, T. Burke. Fuck.
Hey, Derek Brooks played on the same team at the same time, so I'll give it to you.
Derek Brooks had a better track record than Tiki
Oh,
Barber.
Derek Brooks.
But I thought I had the Brooks jersey. That's how fucking long I haven't pulled that bitch out. But back in the fucking, what was it, 2001 when they won the Super Bowl?
Yeah, one or two.
Yeah, fucking, what's his name? Not John Gruden. The coach reformed Grundy or Bundy. Or
Gundy. Tony
yes.
Dungy.
Tony Dungy. That was his team.
Fuck yeah.
That was his team. But yes, I mean, I haven't cared about sports. Like, oh, look. Like, let's be real. You're more of a sports person than I am. I'll be one to admit it. I stay in tune just enough to have a mild social conversation.
I think it's no mystery that I'm probably a bigger UFC fan, mixed martial artist fan than you are.
Yeah, today you are. I used to be. It's back when my stepdad was big into UFC.
Oh yeah, you told me that.
Yeah, when it first got pop, like I told you, like when Chuck Liddell and all of them were fighting, like I was watching a lot because I would go to my mom's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I've fallen off, dude. Like I could not tell you the first thing. Like I'll catch highlights. Like I will click highlights and watch like the big things that happen, but like I don't remember names. I don't remember. Like I'd have to go back and be like, oh shit, yeah, I did see that. It was so and so and so and so. But like I cannot rattle off anything anymore.
Well, the last one you saw, as far as I know, was pretty historic, and you're the one who it happened to, and for some reason, it's just a memory that sticks in my head of Holly Holm knocking out Ronda Rousey, and you said you had
I went and watched the fight at Duffy's Sports Bar. That's why.
And didn't you say like you had just walked in, and then it kind of went down, and the whole place just erupted?
Dude, I walked in because I went. It was actually a fucking why did I go? I forget. Anyway, I went. And yeah, I knew the fight was every TV had it on. Mm-hmm. And because obviously, if you remember, the fight was very quick. It happened in like the first fucking, 30 seconds?
First minute of the first round.
Yeah, first minute of the first round. And I remember I walked in just in time to like just look up, be sucked in just to see what, because it just started, watch, and then it happened. And then the whole place erupted. I was like, oh my God. And the first thing I thought was, they paid all that money for that. I was like, yes. And it was fucking dope. But yeah, that was like the last big UFC historic event that I went out to watch, was the Holly Holmes Ronda Rousey fight.
I've never been out to watch a UFC. Did you know Hooters, Wing House, bars, they have to, I forget what it was. I think they have to buy enough pay-per-views to fill whatever their capacity would be.
Damn, they're required?
But what they end up doing is there's a $10 cover at the door, and plus all the beer and wings you're going to eat. So I think they end up making money, but that's why, like, if they bought a card, an event, and people didn't show up or something like that, a restaurant or bar could take a bath if they don't succeed on like a big night like that.
God, I fucking love America.
I just found that interesting. I kind of thought like, oh, they'll buy each TV and this, but I'm pretty sure it was like there's a rate where they have to pay for everybody in there. And obviously there's more people than they say.
I wonder, did they just go off their max capacity and then just like lower it a little bit?
I think so. I'd have to look that back up again. I just remember it being...
I don't think I've been to any restaurant at max capacity, because the max capacity is a lot.
I'm sure you've been inside Meg O'Malley's when it's at max capacity.
Oh, yeah, for St. Patrick's Day, no doubt.
That place might as well be Joe Exotic Zoo sometimes.
I fucking saw a man die.
What?
I didn't tell you this story?
No.
Like fucking 3.5 years ago when I worked there, like 4 years ago. I'll never forget. I was fucking working. And it was packed to the brim. St. Patrick's Day, the big event. We had the fucking breakfast Irish dishes out with the fucking, line of buffet that you could get. All the kegs were in the back. The block party was going to happen that night. And it was so packed. Like, every table's full. There's, like, a line of people, like, kind of wedging themselves in, like, through the outside. And they kind of, like, are just walking in. Like, I don't even know where the fuck they're going. They're just trying to get into the building, like, looking for people they know that are sitting down or trying to find a table. Like, good luck to you. Every seat at the bar is full. Like, everything's full. And I'll never forget, I'm watching it. And this man, and because I was clearing tables. That's what I was. I was a busser / barback type person, getting nice for the bars and clearing tables. That's what I did. And I was right there, and I seen this guy, and he was on a walker, and he just drops. And everyone's freaking out. Everyone's like, oh, well, not everyone at first. The lady behind him must have been his daughter, because she was like, Dad, 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 and like freaking out. And like one of our bartenders at the time was an EMT. He fucking jumps the counter like immediately. Like once he like figures out what's going on, he like fucking like Jason Bourne, just boop, like over the counter, starts immediately going into CPR, like everything. And I'm just like, doom, and like everyone starts clustering. So I get out of there because I don't even want to be in the way.
Yeah.
Like I'm just like, I'm out of there. And I remember I checked in later with what was going on, and we found out like later that night he didn't make it.
Was he DOA, dead on arrival? Like he died there?
Don't know the details in particular. I just know that day of didn't make it.
I've never seen a person die. I've never seen a dead body.
All right, since we're going down that route, hold on one second. Hold on.
Hold on one more time. You're going to see a dead body pretty soon, pal.
So, did I tell you the story about how I was driving to work when I lived in Melbourne, and how I was on my way, and I was at this I was approaching the three-way intersection, not four-way, three-way, of this road called Babcock to US 1.
Stop sign?
No, three-way traffic light.
Okay.
And I hit this, like, congestion. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I'm already late. And, like, where I worked at the time, lateness was unacceptable. Unacceptable. You could not be late. If you were, you had to stay after and clean shit. And if you no-called, no-showed, you're fired. Like, you had to always get someone to cover for you. But it taught me good things. Like, in that, I feel like that primed me to, like, never call out from work. So I'm driving, like, I hit traffic, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I'm, like, sitting here. I'm like, oh, shit. And literally, I see people running in the street, like past my window. And I'm like, what the fuck? And finally, it let up a little bit. And I start driving, and I pass the incident. I look to my right, and there's a gentleman in black dress pants, white dress shirt, or light blue, I can't remember, on the ground, almost fetal position, not quite, like kind of like just like legs bent, arms out, just laying on his side. And on the white shirt, a red blotch. So I literally look out my window, I see it, I'm like, that motherfucker's dead on the ground. So we get in the car, or I'm already in the car. I drive, I get to work. As I turn left onto that highway, when I finally get to that light, a caravan of maybe 12 cops, all coming down. Next day, check the newspaper. This gentleman, who was a car salesman, he was doing a test drive with a customer, one of the first drives of the day, got into a road rage incident with someone. And he gets out of the car when they get to a light, because he's like, what the hell is going on? He gets out, knocks on the guy's window. The guy rolls his window down, pops him twice in the chest. The guy who shot him claimed self-defense, went to prison.
Good. Stay there.
Yeah, dude, it was fucked up. And I literally, like, when I got to work, I'm like, I told my boss everything. And the next day when the story came out, I was like, look, this was not a joke. I'm like, I literally laid my eyes on this man. And that's not the first time I've seen someone on the ground that needed medical attention. I was one time the first person to call in a body on the ground.
Whoa.
I was driving. And this is actually even before that. This was in my adolescence in high school. I was at a party, and I remember I left with my friend to go somewhere to pick something up. undisclosed. And we left. And when we were coming back down this road, Turtle Mound, that was the name of the street. I'll never forget, we're driving up. There's not a lot of traffic in this back roads because we were taking back roads. And like all of a sudden, like the headlights brought in this object into focus. And I see it, he sees it, and he goes, is that a trash bag? Like, what is that? And we get up closer, and he goes, dude, that's a body. That's a person. That's a dude. That's a dude. That's a dude. And we get right up on it, and it's a dude tangled up in a bicycle just on the ground in like a pool of blood. Clearly got hit by a car. So we pass it because we were on a two-way street going like one way, the other way. He was in the lane next to us, so he wasn't obstructing our path. We drove past it, didn't know what to do. So we immediately call it in. And they were like, we were the first call. They were like, thank you. Are you guys still there? And we're like, no. And I almost feel guilty saying we just left because, I mean, he looked dead. But we were also, 15 and scared. And drove past it. And we came back later. Whole road closed. Every emergency vehicle you could name was there. And that was crazy. So I would say there's two. I've seen two.
Man, I've gotten off pretty lucky because I'm thinking about it now. I've never even seen a car accident.
Oh, man. One of the craziest accidents I've ever seen was with my mom.
I've seen the aftermath, obviously. I've
seen what happened right in front of me. Like, the sound was undeniable. It was insane.
I haven't.
I was sitting at a red light, and, like, imagine a turning lane, a straight lane, and a straight lane. We were in this straight lane. First car at the light. Turning lanes, we're getting the okay to go green. So everyone's doing this number. Turning left. Our left lane was empty, so no one was at the light next to us. Car wasn't paying attention, blew through that left lane, blew right through, slammed right into a car doing a left turn. So hard, they both did like a 180. The sound, I'll never forget it. It was like thunder. It was so loud.
That's crazy.
Yeah, man. Oh, and I've seen a fucking Florida Highway Patrol wreck. We were going down to Miami, me, my stepdad, and my mom for my stepdad's family reunion.
Is that the guy?
Huh?
Is that where you met the guy?
No, that's a different time.
Okay.
I know what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going down to Miami. We're on I-95, and we're in the middle lane. Because when you go down to Miami, I-95 opens up to like 5 lanes each side. Like, it's a massive highway down there. Have you been to Miami?
Yeah, for a Beyonce concert. Don't ask.
Okay. Well, I don't know if you remember the highways down there. They're massive. They're huge.
Terrible.
So we're driving down, and I'll never forget. We're in the middle lane, and a Florida Highway Patrol car is going so fast on the far left lane. And the only reason we knew he was coming is because we looked up. My stepdad looked up, and he's like, oh, shit. And he had his lights on. He's, like, coming really fast. And a car in the left lane, you know how they say if you're not going to fucking go fast, get in the right lane? This motherfucker in the left lane was not going fast. And he's driving so slow. And the cop is – because you're supposed to get over for emergency vehicles. He's flying. He's flying. He gets right up. He's going so fast expecting for this car to move over. Car never moves over. So we watch the whole thing happen. He rolls up, like going probably 90 plus, but he realizes he has to slow down because this car didn't move out of the way. Slows down, gets speed wobble, fucking slams into the barricade like 3 times. Parts go flying, and he just goes off to the side. I'll never forget because my stepdad pulled over to ask if the cop was okay. Wow. We pulled over to see if he was all right. He slammed into the barricade. It was crazy.
And did that asshole just keep on in the left lane?
Kept on going. Didn't even stop.
That's one stereotype I'll perpetuate is Florida drivers are pretty terrible at times.
Because we're a melting pot. We got a lot of people.
And a lot of tourists who are unfamiliar.
Yep.
Um, shit. I'm having a memory day. I need to take my alpha brain.
I need to get more.
Yeah. Good luck getting it now. The closest call. No, one time I was like 15. I was out with my friends. And remember when you first got your license and you had a curfew legally?
Yeah.
This was after a football game, and we went to Steak and Shake way after curfew. We were with staying at my one friend's parents, and that was the cool house because his parents didn't give a shit about him.
Nice.
Do whatever we wanted. And he had one of those Scion box cars, and it was...
the bread box.
Yeah. We were in that. Oh, well, you don't know, Cal. I was about to start explaining shit to you. We're on the way to Steak and Shake. I'm in the back seat. My buddy TJ's in the front seat. My buddy Steve's driving. And then I see him look up, look down. We're at a light. Look up, look down. And then he was like, what? And he just pulls over there without saying anything. We're like, Steve, what the fuck, dude? I'm not kidding. I say 20. It was probably like 11, which is still a lot of cop cars. From the other way. This is not exaggeration. There probably was in total 30 cop cars running to whatever this was. And I think it was like a hostage situation, we found out.
I can tell you right now, if you see that kind of scenario, shots fired, 100%.
Well, nothing ever happens here. Like there's shootings, I'm sure, but I mean, if a murder happens here, it's a pretty big news story.
Well, I told you. Did I tell you a story about when we had the deputy killed in Melbourne and I was there when it all went down too?
No, let's keep, I don't know, yeah.
Bro, I'm in the wrong place at the wrong time constantly. I get off the highway and I'm getting ready to turn left on this road called John Rhodes. I turn left, backed up. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Cop after cop driving past us in the grass. Just dude, high-speed chase from the motel just down the street because they got pulled over, suspected stealing furniture. The cop comes up, they roll the window down, they blast her 10 times in the face. Kill her.
A lady deputy?
Yes. And they went on a high-speed chase, drove through backyards, neighborhoods. They rolled into a ditch. I mean, they're both on death row. Well, one of them is, I know for sure. It was crazy. And I'm just sitting there. I'm like, oh, my God, that's why I was sitting in this traffic. Because I literally was like, as it was happening, cops are blowing by. And I was probably 100 feet from where it happened, where I was in traffic. Like the actual shooting. It was insane. And I never forget because I was so moved by the incident. I went to the procession. And they had like helicopters. It was nuts. They had like cops from all over the fucking country come down to do this thing.
There's something when a cop is killed that, man, I know there are pieces of shit in the world. And there's racists. And personally, I think it's a little too easy to become a cop. I've seen like billboards in my hometown, like, join the academy today, you'll start making 50 grand a year. It's like, I just don't think the advertising point for being a law enforcement official is look how much money you'll make. I think that's the wrong reason to get into it.
I agree. Because you don't see the military advertising what you're going to make.
Right. And this is such a duh, but in every profession there's assholes. There's asshole gator wrestlers and there's nice gator wrestlers. Doesn't mean gator wrestlers are assholes. So I've never been, and I mean, this is, you're hearing me say this, so you're kind of like, yeah, but for people who don't know, no, I don't know what it's like to be discriminated against as a minority. I don't even want to really go down that road. I'm not trying to say I do, but man, more and more I get very upset at this disdain for law enforcement. Don't you?
Yeah, all the time. There's always a bad apple that ruins the bunch for everyone. But no, I agree with you.
Is there a turning of the guard with it? Like, are we just distracted right now?
We're distracted. It'll come back.
How many? There's got to be at least every day, at least 1 million. No. Do you think there's 1 million cop-civilian interactions every single day in the United States? 1 million people have to talk to a cop?
Let me look that up.
Point being,
how many people?
I'm curious about that. But with how many law enforcement interactions are happening right now, and no one got
Police pull over more than 50,000 drivers on a typical day. 20 million motorists every year.
a lot. And as tragic as the deputy getting shot is, well, that's not even a fair, I don't know what I was trying to say there. I guess what I'm saying is we're not looking at I don't want to say the wrong thing. I'm saying I think we're focusing too much on the bad apples. And there's so many good cops.
Well, that's why I follow Officer Norman on Instagram, bro. You got to follow Officer Norman. Do you know Officer Norman? Tommy Norman? Bro, he's an officer at Little Rock, Arkansas. Dude, he knows everyone in Little Rock, Arkansas. He's the best. Like, I would love to get him on here. I feel like he would be willing to zoom in for this. He's fucking real. Like, he's so real with everyone he knows that, like, I know everyone in his own community. Uncle Kenny Wayne, Deborah, Lois, the all-star crew. I know them all. I follow him. I've been following him for like a year. He's the best cop there is, man.
What's his last name?
Norman. Just type in Officer Norman. He's the fucking bomb, dude. Like, it's amazing. It's amazing what he does.
Yeah, I'll go to your followers.
And there's other cops trying to, like, emulate what he's doing. And, like, more the power to him. Like, I want more cops to do it, but, like, no one can be this man. Like, he's so close with the community. It's insane. Like, it's insane. Like, his Instagram is nothing but videos of him with everyone in his community that he patrols. And they love him. They love him.
Where I believe the problem started, and this is a secondhand opinion. This is one the comedian Joey Diaz was saying it. Cops used to, when he was growing up, you grew up in the neighborhood you then patrolled. So you knew Mrs. Johnson, and you knew on Tuesday she's not going to be there because she's at the meat market. Like it was, the community raised you to then go back and protect the community. That's what being a cop was, and it worked swimmingly. And I think naturally, as society grows and technology evolves and people move all over, you started getting the guy who grew up in Brooklyn going all the way to the Little Italy neighborhood where he doesn't know anybody, or an ethnic neighborhood, and he's a white guy and he feels in there kind of like a fish out of water. He's never been in this neighborhood, and some of those neighborhoods are bad. And
right.
It's because there's like a lack of familiarity with the cops. Like, I love seeing the Officer Normans of the world. I love seeing like videos where the cop is playing the kids in basketball. That's what's going to fix this. No, I don't believe any, like, I don't think, and tell me if I'm wrong, giving a cop life for murder or trying them the way you would a civilian, is that going to cross a cop's mind in the heat of that moment saying, I could go to prison, I better not make this decision? Like, that's just such an impossible decision to make.
And that's why I think that goes back to what you were saying. Like, 50,000 to be a cop. I feel like being a cop takes a lot more than just 50,000 to be a cop. Like, you have to, like, be very in tune. Like, I almost feel like they should be learning more psychological behaviors than anything, because they've got to know the nuances of what a human being could do in a high tense situation. Like, I feel like they've got to almost be required to study human behavior.
I agree. I think, and it's tough. There could maybe be a higher prerequisite to becoming a law enforcement officer, because that's one of the highest. I mean, even though status and payment wise, no, it's a very crucial and important role in society. And yeah.
Well, I'm telling you, go follow Officer Norman, because he's got over 1 million followers. And he literally, like, he talks about when he first started his career and what made him, like, kind of flip a switch is when he, like, pulled down the street and he literally saw all the kids run when they saw his car. And he was like, nah, I'm not going to have that. I'm not going to have it to where people run when they see me. And he bridged the gap. And because we're in quarantine, you can go on his Instagram page now, and he's going down and he's doing videos based on how he met certain people that he always shows on his Instagram. And it's fucking fascinating. Like the one Uncle Kenny Wayne, like he was like, yeah, you know, I just pulled across the street doing my normal patrol, and I seen him in the middle of the street dancing. And I pulled up, rolled my window down, and I just introduced myself. We started talking. And, you know, he was a little skeptical at first, and they got to know each other. And as time went on, eventually he's like, you know, come back to my house. And, like, now he, like, can go to his house. Like, it's crazy. Like, the amount of work this man has put in to know the people in the community he patrols. Like I'm telling you, like, any one of these people were to, like, pass away from unfortunate events, this guy would be bawling like a baby because it'd be like his brother. That's how close he is with these people. And they're just community members.
That's what a cop.
He takes them to lunch. It's insane.
We're going to reach out to him.
It's amazing. You got to follow him. He's one of my favorite people to follow on Instagram.
You got time for one more off-topic thing that popped in my head like 30 minutes ago?
Yeah, lay it on me.
There's a likelihood, I'm not going to say it's high, that we are going to experience the ramifications of COVID-19 well into winter. Would you say?
Yeah.
There's a likelihood. What are we going to do? Because I've heard a second surge and aftershock of this could come around and be just as bad as when it initially happened. What happens if we reach November 4th and we're all locked away?
You're talking about Election Day.
Election Day.
Either opposition in government enacts something from the Constitution, or it getting postponed, I don't see happening. They want him out.
I know. Mail-in ballot?
Probably.
Absentee ballot?
Yeah, I don't know. I could see this going virtual. Something. They'll have it.
It was just, that popped in my head. I was like, we're in an election year. But also, the same point we've made is the news stations don't seem to be shutting down, and the press conferences and Trump's antics don't seem to be shutting down. So it's like the rules apply to everyone, but
But I will say this. If a Trump rally happens, they'll go ape shit.
Who's they?
People who are saying you can't gather.
Fascinating times we live in, my friend. And I appreciate the fascinating conversations. Do you have any parting thoughts, words, comments, questions, concerns, poems? You still writing poetry?
I'll do one right now. This is a spoken word. Ignorance is bliss. But you know what I say? I gotta piss. Right about now, I'm about as low as the Dow. I'm looking at my Mac. And no, I'm not in lack of the appropriate feelings, because you know what I'm dealing. And it's this truth. And my favorite character on Ozark is Ruth.
Was that off the dome?
Off the dome.
Eminem, all I'm going to say is watch your spot.
Watch your spot, motherfucker.
That was pretty good. Well, my friend, I'm not going to give you a freestyle because there's just no topping that.
All right.
Okay, big brother. All right, well, until 2 days from now when we decide there's more to talk about.
All right, brother. I'll talk to you soon.